Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
This is what female supremacy looks like. A strong, independent woman demonstrates that she's actually weak and dependent. And because a man who's minding his own business, as we've been told to do by an infinite number of gym videos, where any man that glances in the direction of a strong, independent woman, half naked, showing her gash to the world.
Damn!
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Is humiliated on the internet by a
lying ass bitch.
And so he's following 2025 gym protocol and completely ignoring any woman that's filming herself, minding his own business, developing himself, building himself. Because he doesn't drop everything, drop his own training regime and his own focus on himself, because he doesn't drop all of that to come to the rescue of the strong, independent woman that has demonstrated that she's actually a weak, dependent woman.
Correct.
Because he doesn't drop everything for her, there's something wrong with him.
Your thoughts?
What? Y'all smoking crack! Something is wrong with you people! What the hell has this world come to?
Like I'm always telling y'all, modern women are female supremacists, and in our world, modern women have taken the place of white supremacists, and men have taken the place of niggers.
I'm a woman, superior gender. Men are supposed to worship the superior gender, bow down in the presence of royalty.
Absolutely fucking not.
And you're going to see a bunch of examples of that today. Welcome, brother. This is what female supremacy looks like.
Ask 100 married men, which of the 7 dwarfs describes your wife in bed?
How amusing it is that these men are so afraid of their wives that they can't answer a simple question. They can't even make a joke about what their wives are like because they're absolutely terrified and they know better. Little thought experiment. Imagine if instead of 2 guys, that was 2 black women in the Jim Crow South, when white supremacy ruled the Jim Crow South prior to the 1960 Civil Rights Amendments. Imagine them being asked, which of the 7 dwarves describe the white women that employ you? You can imagine them giving the same mute answer, too terrified to say anything that would upset their white employers. Now imagine if instead of 2 husbands, it was 2 wives asked which of the 7 dwarfs would describe your husband. Can you imagine them even hesitating for a second before they launched into a diatribe about how pathetic and ridiculous their husbands are, as tens of thousands of wives already do on TikTok on a daily basis?
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Absolutely disrespecting and humiliating their husbands. That's what modern women who are wives do already. And if they were on this game show and they were asked the same question, they would be launching into their husbands off the top rope. This is what female supremacy looks like. There is absolutely nothing funny about this. This infuriates me that I live in a world, a culture, where grown-ass men are terrified of their wives because their wives can't take a fucking joke.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
And rule the house by withdrawing sex if their husband does anything they don't like, or threatens to divorce rape him if he does anything they don't like. That's not marriage, that's slavery.
Well, first let me say, I think you make some really interesting points.
And it is accepted in society as totally okay because we live in a female supremacist gynocracy.
I'm a woman, superior gender. Men are supposed to worship the superior gender, bow down in the presence of royalty.
No.
Moving on.
All these men deserve like a first-class ticket to hell. Yes. They need to burn, baby, burn.
Really?
Don't be butthurt. You did it to yourself. Okay?
Again, all you need to do to see that the level of misandry and hate that these female supremacist modern women have towards men is exactly like the level of racist hate that white supremacists did and still do hold towards black people. Just reverse the roles. Imagine if two men were sitting there saying, all these women need to go to hell. Yeah, burn, baby, burn, bitches. Burn, all you women. Burn in hell, women. If you can imagine no podcaster would do it, but imagine if two men were doing that. The uproar would be
misogyny,
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 misogyny.
That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Yet, when women on podcasts, as they do thousands of times every day, say things like, men should go to hell, men are shit, kill all men, bears are better than men, etc., 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 when they spout their misandry and their female supremacy towards the niggers that they see men as, there is not one call of misandry, misandry, except for mine right now. And why is that? Because it would be the equivalent of hearing black people in the Jim Crow South shouting, racism, you're being racist against black people. No one gives a shit about racism towards black people in the Jim Crow South in a white supremacist culture. No one gives a shit. It's not even a thing, because that is the water to the fish. Fish don't see water because they don't know anything else. And white supremacists don't see white supremacy because they don't know anything else. And female supremacists don't see misandry because they don't know anything else. That's why you would never hear anyone in the mainstream complaining about women being that misandrist. It is absolutely disgusting. But what is absolutely disgusting when it comes from women to men is completely normalized, justified, rationalized, and okay in a female supremacist society. Tell me I'm wrong. Let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, how I'm wrong. Or let me know in the comments how you acknowledge that I'm dead fucking right.
He is the one.
Is he though?
Sometimes may be good, sometimes may be shit.
Moving on.
Like, I hate when people talk about black women being obese. I hate it. Because it becomes a way to blame us for a set of conditions that we didn't create. We're moving, we're taking care of kids, but our food quality suffers. We are living in the Trump era. And look, those policies kill our people. You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet, than our white women counterpart.
Stop it! Cut it out! I have a glandular problem. Cut it out! I'm just trying to live my life. No one taught me about carbs.
Oh, the irony. The irony that the black people that were almost certainly the biggest victims of white supremacy during slavery and Jim Crow, black women who were raped both during slavery and in Jim Crow, and no one was prosecuted, and they were just absolutely vulnerable to the worst excesses of white supremacy. The irony that because of the subversion of Western culture by woke, which plays the victim Olympics, the more oppressed you were in the old world, the more you rise to the top of the new hierarchy, the woke hierarchy. And so black people were more oppressed than white people, bigger victims. So black people replaced white people at the top of the hierarchy, and women were more oppressed than men. So women replace men at the top of the hierarchy. So in our world, black women are at the top. They're the most protected. You know, if you want to know who rules you, look at who you are not allowed to criticize.
The people Kanye proved you can't criticize.
And you are not allowed to criticize black women, as anyone that's tried will attest to. So the irony that they were the most oppressed, and in this case, most people would agree that throughout slavery and the Jim Crow segregation in the South, the last thing you wanted to be was a black woman. But because the tables have turned with woke, all of that bitterness, pain, and hatred that has basically fractured the consciousness of a huge group of black people, men and women, has now been made into an armor, a suit of armor, which means that absolutely no criticism whatsoever of black people, or in this case, black women, is allowed. Nothing black people do is their fault. No accountability can be taken. So black people can be responsible for 50% of the murders, even though they're 13% of the population. All of the rioting and looting and disgusting behavior that comes from the black culture of gangsters and materialism, the 70% children born out of wedlock. You know, black women can be the worst modern women of all, which they obviously are, just by the single motherhood rates, but also their ratchet behavior. Yet it's never their fault. They take the standard allergic reaction to accountability of every woman and they put it on steroids and they turn it up to 11 because they were the biggest historical victims. So now nothing is their fault. Nothing. Even stuffing their fat faces and being lazy as shit is not their fault. That's racism. That's society. And I just showed this clip because I'm black and, you know, I'm just embarrassed by black culture and the majority. I don't know if it's the majority of black people. I know there are plenty of black people like me who don't have that attitude. But there are enough black people with that victim mentality and that everything is racism and everything is white people to know I'm embarrassed to be black. But I wanted to show you the most cancerous, most metastasized form of female supremacy and what it looks like. And that is fat black women.
Damn! That's not ridiculous. That's not ridiculous to say that.
Who are the biggest bullies in the Western world. You cannot say anything to them. If you criticize them, if you complain about their behavior, they go into a full top rope mode and they will drop kick anyone that pokes at the deep wound of unworthiness and unsafeness that exists in the female black mind. And so they become super masculine, super aggressive, super domineering as a coping mechanism for how weak and frail and unsafe they feel. It's actually really sad. And I don't have any hate for them. Obviously, I have a lot of love for them. My mum's black. But the truth is the truth. And because they fail to heal, they fail to do the actual spiritual healing work that allows you to overcome your personal trauma and even your generational trauma. It can be done. People have done it. The Japanese have done it. They had atom bombs dropped on them, and they've managed to heal from that atrocity. But black people, because of their victim mentality, will never heal. Victims can't heal. I don't know if you know this or not, but if you fail to take responsibility for your inner experience, so your unhappiness, your anger, your pain, your resentment, whatever it is, if you blame something or someone outside of yourself for how you feel inside of yourself, you cannot heal. The only people who can heal and progress and move on in life are the people that take responsibility, the people that say, everything under my skin is mine. My unhappiness is my responsibility. It might not be my fault that I was traumatized. In fact, it isn't if you're a child and you're traumatized by your parents or some adults. It's not your fault, but it is your responsibility because you're the only one who can do anything about it. You're the only one who can heal. No one else can heal, only you. So it's not your fault, but you are responsible. And victims don't do that. Victims say, it's the white people, it's the racists, it's the men, it's the straight white men that make me feel like this. It's my ex-boyfriend, it's Chad, it's my narcissistic, toxic boyfriend that makes me feel like this. That's what women are like. They're natural born victims because they never take accountability and responsibility for their experience, for their misery and unhappiness, and always blame men, the patriarchy, society, white people. They never heal. So they're trapped in a prison of misery and victimhood. And the best example of that is this type of black woman. So I just wanted to show that to illustrate the point. Let me know in the comments what you think about this series. This is what female supremacy looks like. And I'll see you in the next one.